host, Randy Duncan, and let's get after it.
Good morning, Let's Get It fans, and welcome to another fantastic episode we have for you on deck today. We have my co-host Marcus Bullock, along with my producer Jason Bryce. We have a fantastic show for you on hand. We are going to be just getting into a little bit of the local sports topics, some of the national sports topics, and a little bit in our first segment. And our second segment, you're definitely going to want to hang around. We have a fantastic story with Jason Bryce's son of perseverance, something you're going to want to stay ahead and listen to. And in our third segment, we're going to have a coach from Hamilton West High School is going to be joining us on the show too. So we're going to have a fantastic show ahead for you guys. But as always, when I start off, Marcus, how are you, sir? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, man. All is good. It was a good week. I'm waiting for the snow to come. Everything's good though, man. Been having a lot of basketball going on. Practices, games are starting, so everything's going well, man.
Fantastic. And Jay, how you doing?
You know what? Hey, listen, man. I'm doing well. You know what? Still COVID and Corona free, so we're blessed. Definitely able to move forward. A lot of challenges this week, man. A lot of things to ponder and consider. But through it all, man. You know what I'm saying? It builds resiliency, and we continue to move forward. You know what I mean? So we're blessed to be here, and we're in our new home, our new location. So that's we're still a work in progress. What did I say? It was like 8 phases, right?
Yeah, you said
So we're probably in phase 6.5 maybe.
6.5. I tell you one thing. I love this setup. I like it. It is awesome. I know that for those of you guys watching on Facebook and on YouTube, we're growing. I know, I talk about it all the time that,
Absolutely.
About a year ago, this was I was in my office in my house. Jay was at his house, which is a very small. It was just an idea, and just to be sitting here and have had Marcus join us.
Yeah,
and
I was
Jay.
at home not doing something else.
And but just to now just be sitting here, to have our studio, and to have all the people that have joined us, it's an awesome thing. And again, we appreciate and thank everyone who's been on our show and watching our show and supporting us.
And if I could just add to that, you know what? This morning I woke up, even last night, but then I went to sleep, and this morning I woke up, and I know Marcus knows, but Randy, you may not know, but the local school out here is called Osage, right? So Osage, I love this whole school system, Boardman school system. Love Osage, love the principal, love the teachers, everybody. But one of the things that I was remembering was my daughter Cameron is in those plays, like I'm sure your daughter, your kids are, and you know what I mean. And she had to say something from Helen Keller. And it was, I can't memorize it. If I was to call her, she would say it. I could hear her saying it. But it was talking about vision. And it was like true nobility, true this. But I don't know the whole phrasing, right? But I'm thinking about vision. And sometimes, you know what? And you hear a lot of people shout out Nia Daniels, everybody that's out there that are, gatekeepers for vision. And she said, as long as you can visualize it and you write it down, it could come true. And the fact that we're here today is it's something that I visualized in my mind, whatever, and through the grace of God we got here. So I just want to, give thanks to him, and then also to my daughter with her saying true nobility, true this, true that, is real vision or something like that. I don't know what it is. But anyway, you know what I mean? But that's what's in my, because they always say, don't be quiet, don't say your comments. And I said, that's right, out loud. But they say, don't crowd, don't make no noise. I make noise, you know what I'm saying? So it's all good though. But yeah, we're good though. What's going on? So go ahead.
No, and like you said, we just growing, and like I said, we've had a lot of people join us, a lot of people watching, a lot of people talking, and a lot of support in the community, and we appreciate that. And like I said, we have a lot of our former coaches, just a shout out to them who joined us. I know Coach Damian Ware from the Penns Grove High School team. They started out 2-0 this week on fantastic victories. And some great play from their teams. Again, we had Coach Andrew Cantonese from the Triton High School team. They started, they dropped the first 2 games, but I know that he told me that they played tough, especially this last Friday. And I know, Coach, you can, kind of elaborate on that a little more about, the Triton team, especially the game on Friday.
Yeah, they lost 1 to Kingsway, who's a pretty good team. But his 2 top players, Akeem, who we talked about, Akeem Bobron, who we talked about on the show, had 20.17 rebounds in that game.
Wow.
He's
Yeah, he got busy.
right now. I think he's averaging 20 and 13 rebounds, or 20 or 15, something like that. And then Bobby Beecher, the shooter he talked about, is also averaging, I think, 20 and 8 rebounds. So, the wins haven't come yet, but they seem like they're right around the corner for them.
Absolutely, and like I said, I'm honored enough to be a part of watching them all the time with the Penns Grove High School team, and they are an awesome team. And they were, like I said, the 2-0 start was fantastic. Coach Ware had them playing hard. I mean, like I said,
There you know, he had them hustling
it
too,
was
right?
huge. And Jay, I know you get, of course, that they hustling. Like I said, the victory over Wildwood to start the season was kind of an upset. Wildwood was one of the favorites in the division, so that was a huge win for them. And then the win over Woodstown, which was the rival team, just being able to, they really put the pedal to the floor in that victory. So shout out to them. And once again, we're going to follow them. And once again, just the local high school, trying to get all our kids out there. I know Anthony Thomas from Penns Grove, he had a big.
Right, I wanted to shout out some players. Anthony Thomas, they call him Gummy. He got busy out there. He's like, remind me like a little Andre Miller. You know what I'm saying? Just nothing necessarily fast or whatever, but just efficient. And you're not stopping that drive to the basket.
No.
Shout out to Darrell Spence and who else played well? John Mayer Gillingham, definitely Hollywood Robinson.
Yes.
Like just the whole collection of those seniors, Jayon Carter, all of them. They just played well. The whole team really played. Even Big Cam Bailey, maybe he played well in that second game too. So shout out to them too as well.
It was, and what? And like I said, it just shows, and you saw that with Coach Ware. Just how much coaching can impact a game. Because I know at one point in the Wildwood game, it looked like Wildwood was going to actually pull away. They were up, I want to say 7 points, and Penns Grove went on, I want to say it was like a 17-3 run.
Right, something like that.
And he took that timeout, and it was just, he got his players back on track. It's a phenomenal victory for them. And speaking of phenomenal victories, Marcus, you got to give some love to the Sixers, man. The Sixers were phenomenal.
He said it.
I know, that's what I said. So I'm gonna turn this over to you because this is your
He
time
said
to
it,
sign. But the Sixers had a 2-1 week.
Finally.
Yeah, 2-1 week.
Finally.
Yeah.
Listen, that win over the Lakers was impressive. And, game to game, anything can happen. But I think what really impressed me was they held the lead pretty much the entire game.
Yeah.
But then when the Lakers tried to turn it on and even took the lead, the Sixers were able to
respond,
keep going.
right.
And that was good to see. And I guess that's always been my worry is when it comes down to the end, who's going to do it? And Tobias stepped up, and I will say, I've never voted for the All-Star game, except when I was young and you would go to the games,
Sure.
and they had the little punch-out
sure.
things. I did that, but ever since it went online, I just never did it.
Right.
But I made it a point. I got the email from the Sixers, vote for the All-Stars, and I made it a point to go on there and vote for whoever I voted, but I made sure I voted for Embiid and I voted for Tobias. I did not vote for Ben.
Ben Simmons?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
vote for
no.
Ben.
That's okay. I mean, the Ben love is still growing. I'm just saying it's growing.
I love Ben.
Okay.
But he's not playing well enough to be an all-star.
All right.
But I made sure I voted for Tobias. Because I think, and I'm like, the consistency is there now for me, so I see that.
Sure.
The problem, and it's going to be a problem the whole season, which I think could end up costing them seeding-wise, is what happens when Embiid doesn't play.
Well, you know what? I mean, you're right. I think that if we do something about Dwight, you know what I'm saying, and get him a little, because he's a force down there. Still, I mean, I'm not saying scoring or whatever, but if he could do like maybe a little some, pick and roll and he screen and then lob pass, almost like a Clint Capella type.
Yeah.
I think that'll be okay just to give, Embiid some rest and stuff like that. But when you talked about Tobias Harris, it's something different about him.
Sure.
And that speaks to a lot of people on a lot of levels that, leadership brings the best out of people. True leadership. And that's back to my daughter, true nobility, whatever she said about Helen Keller. It brings the best out of players. And you're seeing that with Tobias Harris.
Sure, I agree.
No, it is, and it's just like I said, that's the game. I think a lot of people had high expectations for the Sixers, and they do, but that was the game that if you were on the fence, that was like, oh, we can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing I want to talk about, that foul LeBron on Joel Embiid. What are your thoughts on that? Because I feel like if that was anybody else in the league, they're getting like a flagrant 2.
Well, one thing, I mean, when we're watching on TV, it's one thing, and I just want to ask because I was talking with Coach Ware about this for a second. I'm not sure what part of the game that was, but I actually stepped away from the game because I really felt like the Sixers were in command. Yeah. And then next thing you know, I turned around and it's like, wait a minute. My son come out the room and say, yo, they're bombs. I'm like, wait a minute. What happened? I turned the remote, I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. They down. I mean, they ain't even down. They're actually only up like
deep
one.
into Brett Brown to return.
Right, I'm like, but that's the one thing with Philly though. So I was watching the replay of that foul. Was it as egregious as it as he painted the picture, or was it a little embellishment?
So the way he hit the ground hard,
Okay.
but I don't think he hit the ground hard because of how hard LeBron pushed him. I think it was just the momentum of
And
everything.
then that perfect little.
Yeah.
Okay.
So LeBron, I don't think it was malicious or
Sure.
because of how it happened. I think it was definitely a flagrant foul.
Sure.
More because I think if Embiid just lands on his feet, it's not a flagrant foul.
Right, I got you.
But I think LeBron was avoiding getting dunked on.
Right.
And so he was kind of
Right.
So and I think, and we know Embiid's not the most fleet of foot. He's always on the ground. So I think
Why, though?
I don't know the answer.
Every
to that.
time he pulls out,
Damn, but why though?
I
You're a big man. You're the biggest guy out there, but you fall the most.
Right, so I don't get that. But no, I mean, it was definitely a flagrant foul. I don't think it was a flagrant two. I think just because of the way he landed. And I definitely think when they played it with the sound, it hurt my back. Like I was so I mean, I just think it was the way that it all played out more than anything. I don't think he pushed him that hard. I think it was definitely a foul, definitely a flagrant foul.
Sure.
But I don't think it was more than that.
no, I just, it's like I said, every time it's like LeBron involved, you always got like that, oh, God, we can't put LeBron in a bad light. We got to keep his spot clean.
Well, that goes with being the greatest.
Yeah.
No, I know,
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
saying, but I think I would have loved to have seen, just as a fan, like, LeBron get like that flagrant two, you're gone.
And you know what? I mean,
Like just to see the, because I think that would have just been like great for, I mean,
true.
it just would have been exciting.
To hold people accountable.
Right, like
Right.
you can have it with LeBron.
see, Marcus is him and I. We're angled
We are
guys,
not even
you know what I'm saying?
discussing it.
No. I'm bringing that up though, but not right now though, because I already talked to you about your reporting and stuff. It seems very caution favorable.
Okay.
But that's okay.
Again,
I'm just
for,
saying.
For all our fans out there who follow our Let's Get It page,
Okay.
and once again, like the page, always again.
It's all
Let's
good.
Get It. He's referring to the Carson Wentz love. I've started a share. I'm not going to say like I'm one step of a million towards maybe coming around.
No.
But either way,
No.
I mean, I just thought like I said, accountability, and it was interesting. So and just like I said, to transition over to talk about accountability, talk about the accountability of Nick Sirianni and his press conference.
That was terrible.
And here's the thing,
What's he
like,
saying?
no, here's the thing though, and I think this guy unfortunately has just walked into a situation that like he is just doomed because, and it's not even his fault. I have nothing against this guy. He may be a great coach. He may be the next Sean McVay. You don't know, but the intro from Howie Roseman, who was talking about Deuce Staley and talking about Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie, and how, I love Deuce and I love this and I love that. Well, you talking about I love him like a son, but you kicked your son out of the family.
Right.
Like, how much did you really love him?
Right.
I just felt like Jeffrey Lurie was almost like doing a eulogy. He wasn't talking about, in introducing a new head coach. And
I'm sure. I didn't watch all of that. I did watch the press conference.
Right.
I'm sorry. I didn't watch it live. I watched it on Facebook once everybody started clowning him.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, why are they clowning him? And then I heard why they were clowning him. But if Jeffrey Lurie was saying some things about Deuce, it's probably the same thing he was saying about, kind of similar to what he was saying about Doug Peterson, right? And he's probably saying those things because in his mind he knows he shouldn't make the move. You know what I'm saying? But he's doing
I
it.
think he's hedging his bets. So
Okay.
let me say this so that if this guy goes off and is whatever, I said all these great things about him and I didn't want to let him go and I didn't want to.
Right. So he knows that he is making a mistake.
Right.
He knows it. I mean, and it's okay though. It's all right.
Well, see, but you go to this guy Nick Sirianni, and like I said, he was up there. You can tell it was very much a scripted. But I mean, like the responses that he gave were exactly the responses you would expect from a new young coach. People sitting there. I know, like Howard Eskin, always, you can count on him to give the question we all want to know. As much as I may not like him, when it comes I can't stand him. I agree. But when it comes to like asking the question you want to hear the answer to, he's the guy that doesn't back down.
Okay.
And he talks about, who's your quarterback next year? And people, like, what did you really think? People are like, oh, he gave such a bland answer.
Right.
Like, what do you expect him to say? Like, what do you expect? So, in my opinion, like I said, for all people clowning Nick Sirianni, like, give the guy a break.
No, I'm not giving him a break. And let me tell you why I'm not giving him a break.
Okay.
Because of the fact he was brought in to protect Carson, to start Carson, and to, you know, coach Carson.
So
That's,
what- yeah, but how-
that's why. So it all goes
But
back.
he was brought in as a puppet for Howie and Jeffrey to protect their decisions.
Lee Harvey Oswald Jr. Patsy. Yes.
What I'll say about it is what bothered me about it is everything was scripted that he was trying to say.
Still stumble.
So for me, it's like when I'm
It's
going,
funny.
right. If I'm gonna go to an interview, or if you know, even if I was gonna be a guest on a podcast or
Sure.
whatever the situation maybe is, I'm not gonna have scripted answers to say
Right.
because I'm only gonna speak about things that I know, and I don't
Right.
need to, you know, if like we want to talk about basketball coaching, I don't need to look at it. Let's talk. Like, and whatever it is, I'm just gonna be real with
Yes.
you and what's gonna come from my mind. Whereas if you're talking to him about what's your system, like I think the question was like he was talking about his system, and
Yeah,
that's when he started really like, and he's like, well, our system, and he's looking down. Like
Yeah.
you don't know, you don't.
You don't know. We're gonna have our systems in place.
I
We're
love
gonna have our
that. And
systems
he just
in
says
place.
such generic answers. He's like, you know, we're gonna play hard. We're gonna get on the same
Right.
page. No, okay. I don't need you to ramp me up. I'm not a 14-year-old Pee Wee team.
Right.
I need you to tell me how you're gonna lead these men to victory.
And you know what? I don't know if it was so much the fact that he didn't necessarily expound on the answers as much as it was the fumbling.
Right.
Because
That's
he
right.
was fumbling.
Right.
Like, oh, we're gonna have our systems, and
Right.
you know, it reminds me of something that happened a while ago, but I can't really talk about it. But sometimes, you know what? When you say certain things, you set yourself up for
Yes.
a secondary question,
Yeah.
and when that question comes and you don't know the
You're not
answer,
ready for it.
oh man,
Right.
You know?
Right.
And that's what I felt like he was not ready for, which then tells me the lack of experience, which then goes back to that narrative that a lot of people saying, and I go back to that narrative of, well, you know, you didn't think that Deuce was prepared or ready enough to be able to lead, but then we got this joker up here and he
Look,
can't even handle
excuse me,
a
excuse
press
me,
conference. I'm just being honest.
No, we go
The
back-
press conferences
no,
at
no,
D3
go
schools
back.
are different than the
Please go
NFL
back.
press
Please go back.
conferences.
I'm gonna your word choices.
Okay.
We. You are not a we.
Oh, okay.
You guys. So, again, you are not affiliated with the Eagles at all.
Oh, no,
So
no, but
you-
listen, I live in the area. That gives me the right to
But
speak.
no, I don't want you to use the word we.
Okay.
Now, if you're thinking of all the New York teams,
No.
Buffalo, Long Island,
That's
they,
right.
you know,
They don't know. Yeah, we're very
Rochester.
Listen,
Rochester.
That's it.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate. We're very
So,
fortunate to
he's-
have multiple
He's
teams.
a
I'm just
Syracuse
saying. So,
fan.
you can say, we can say we.
And St. John's.
Yeah. You can say we there, but please don't use any, SUNY.
Oh, SUNY College is
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. But
Yeah,
that's the
all
thing.
good.
Look, I mean, it gives me no hope as an Eagles fan because I know that this front office is just sitting there like a chess piece.
You know, listen. I gotta ask. I have to go there. Pardon me, Coach. Okay, Randy.
Yeah.
Are you happy about the Nick Sirianni hiring?
No.
Even though it gives your boy the chance that you think he
No, it
deserves.
doesn't give him
You know it does though. Stop
No,
it.
it gives him another out. It gives him another out. But the thing is too, Carson went. And you are listening, get in from the playing with the dogs.
I wish I had the can opener. Like, you know, like you open the can of beer, it goes.
I understand. Look, here's the thing though. When it comes to Carson Wentz and it comes to Nick Sirianni, first of all, I've never seen a team where no players respond to their new coach hiring. Like normally you see some players like, you know, if you get a new coach hiring, you go, welcome to Coach John, welcome to Coach Smith, something, you know, let's get to work, something like that. Nobody has even been like recognizing anything. And even Carson Wentz finally, you know, came out of his hibernation to talk about Rodney McLeod being nominated for Man of the Year. But like nothing about excited for the, you know, the new start of the season. Like it just tells you something, I think, a little
Well,
bit.
on that, like, nobody wants to hear anything from Carson.
No,
I don't want to hear one word Carson has to say, unless it's that was all my fault.
Right.
That's it.
Unless it's that.
Randy wants to hear from you.
No, I told you. I need
Right.
accountability from him. I need him to say, I'm working on X, Y, and Z. I'm telling you that.
Randy, here's my question to you. Are you, you know, you said you're not happy with the Sirianni hiring.
Yeah.
Would you rather Doug Peterson still be?
Over Nick Sirianni?
Yes. Because you know, if Doug's here, Carson's gone.
And-
Well, that's the thing. Here's the thing. I think I would, because I think right now that this organization, hold on, let me answer
It
the
starts to
question.
sound like Sirianni.
He's not wrong.
He's starting to
Here's the
fumble.
thing,
Right?
though.
Let's talk about your
If you have Doug Peterson here, at least I know that there's somebody who is putting down and saying, this is what I want. Nick Sirianni is going into this, you know he's a puppet, and that's it. So you know that now the trajectory of the Eagles with him as the head coach to me is terrible. Because you know that Jeffrey and Howie are still running the show. If Doug is here, you have somebody I think who's saying, look, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do X, Y, Z. But I don't, look, I just think is if you're going to get rid of Doug and you went to Nick Sirianni, you might as well kept Doug.
So I'm just gonna, just a follow-up question. This is the same thing I do with like my first grade and second grade.
So now I'm being fair to the first and second grade.
Well, no, I mean, you didn't answer my
Yeah,
question.
you didn't answer, right? You gotta come a different way, right?
But I would rather see Doug Peterson than Nick Sirianni.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, see, that's what, like with the beer can. Here we go. So you'd rather see what, man? Can you just repeat that?
I
one
would
more
rather
time?
have Doug Peterson than Nick Sirianni.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes.
All right. So
And again, it's nothing against Nick Sirianni.
No,
It has
right.
nothing against him doing it. Just Nick Sirianni tells me, once again, that he's a puppet for Howie and Jeffrey, and until that takes accountability, and Jeffrey takes his hand out of the pot and try to manipulate the roster, and recognizes that one of the biggest problems too is Howie Roseman, the Eagles' trajectory, I think, is not good.
That's, you're showing growth. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Proud of you.
I feel a little sarcasm.
But no,
I'll tell you one thing.
I don't know what's coming from that
But-
side. I'm proud that you know,
I-
because you know what comes with Doug means. That means it's a less chance for your boy. So I'm proud of that.
But I think that right now, you know, this,
You're about to switch that lane.
we're not switching lanes, we're gonna stick with that, and I know it is, I know it, but that's fine, because like I said too, Carson has to be held accountable, and this offseason, he needs to be. Going into next season, I truly believe that this needs to be if Carson is still here, which I don't really believe that he's gonna necessarily be here, I mean, you know, if it wasn't for the money, he would be much easily tradable, but if both of those quarterbacks are still on the roster, it needs to be an open quarterback competition, and whoever plays better is the starting quarterback. Because neither Carson nor Jalen Hurts really went in and took the job.
Right.
So you can start fresh, and that's what needs to happen if both quarterbacks are on the roster next year. So,
I'm okay with that. I'm satisfied with that. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen, though. You know, Sirianni was brought in to help Carson. And you know, that's what it was. Everybody can see it. It's plain as day. You know, it's funny how, you know, you have, you know, leadership always does that, you know, when they're trying to, you know, especially with the Eagles, when they're trying to cover up different things or whatever, they'll try to throw you different left curves and snowballs and say, oh no, he wasn't brought in for this, oh no, this and that, when, yes he was.
well, it was.
Yes he was,
And
but
the
that's,
thing, right.
But that's your investment, though. I mean, I can't
get it. I
even
you know,
fault them for
yeah.
that. Like, you know, when you make that investment into a player, you got to try to do whatever you can to.
Yeah, you're not gonna be like, oh, you know, like I said, you know, that's like you bought the house and the foundation. Oh, we're in it.
but there's also as assets and liabilities, right? And you know, at the end of the day, you know, people that make decisions, people that are in management, whatever, you have to weigh your assets and your liabilities. And when somebody starts to become more of a liability than your asset, then you have to, it doesn't matter the cost,
Right.
because what you care about as a ownership is the bottom line.
Bottom line.
That's what you care about. You don't care about anything else but the bottom line. So when when the liabilities are outweighing the asset, like Carson, you just cut him loose. Like you make money, you're going to make that money back. It ain't like, you know, please think about how much money they paid Carson.
Yeah.
That's only maybe what, a third of what the owners get. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
For them to be able to pay that money,
But
they
I-
have to at least have 2 times that.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
But I think for them in their mind, okay, let's try this experiment this year, and now if it doesn't work and we get rid of Carson, we're off the hook there's no money that we're
Right.
on the hook for. As opposed to if we do it this year, we're out 30 million no matter what.
Right. Well, here's what we do know is that all those Eagle fans that felt as though, you know, they were, you know, we were still kind of close to like a Super Bowl. Okay. That you guys were still kind of close to a Super Bowl. That time is over.
Oh, we are. That's gold.
You're not close to the Super Bowl.
No,
That's
not at all.
over. Yeah.
No, we are.
And that's sad.
We are closer to the #1 draft pick than the Super Bowl.
I don't even know, has there ever been any team that has fell from that championship level that quickly.
Well, the thing is, actually, this was the first really bad
Cleveland
season.
Cavaliers.
From what, the last one, 2016 to, yeah,
And then 2
yeah.
years later, they had
To
a
that,
double
yeah,
dip.
yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I mean, but
That's true.
you look at it too, though. Like, you know, we'll see. And, like, you know, and like I said, you know, that's
Yeah.
the one thing I said before we go to break is that we all knew what it was as soon as Jeffrey Lurie came on and did his, you know, eulogy. I almost like to say about Deuce and about what Nick Sirianni, like the love in my heart. I don't want to hear about the love in your heart. I want to hear about what you're going to do to make this team better. And that's what that's.
Well, he was telling you what he did. He got.
But no, but
he didn't hire Deuce. He got rid of Peterson. He got rid of whoever else, and he brought in Sirianni. So he's telling you what he did to make the team better.
He did. You know, with that said, we're going to cut to a quick commercial break. Join us on our next segment.